population centers. We're not walking away from Israel's security. We're walking away from Israel's ability to wage war in those areas.
So it's not over your red line yet?
Not yet, but we've held up the weapons. We've held up the one shipment that, as an old shipment, was designed for. We've held that up.
Finally, the President of the United States admitted what we all know, that American-made bombs have killed Palestinian civilians in Gaza. Finally, the President of the United States recognizing what many of us have long recognized, that he has leverage over Israel. He has the power to change Israel's behavior by restricting aid, restricting arms, restricting US support for this genocide. See? Pressure works. But I can't help but think, if only he had said what he said on CNN on Wednesday night, on May the 8th, on October the 8th, or even November the 8th, or December the 8th. Think about how many Palestinians might still be alive today if he had said what he's saying now, back then. As for his red line, suggesting that Israel isn't trampling all over it right now vis-a-vis Rafah and the offensive operations there, is just disingenuous. It's also a little bit desperate. The truth is that Joe Biden cannot afford for Benjamin Netanyahu and his fascist friends in government to trample all over that red line, to erase it, to mock it. I mean, has the president seen the tweet that Israeli National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir put out on Thursday, saying Hamas loves Biden, the man who has unconditionally funded and armed Ben-Gvir's government for the past 7 straight months? Crazy. Has the president, has the White House, has the Democratic Party seen our poll this week that shows 70% of American voters, including a majority of Republicans, want a permanent ceasefire and a de-escalation of violence in Gaza? That shows a majority of Biden's own Democratic base says what's happening there is a genocide. That shows voters narrowly trust Donald Trump more than Biden to handle US involvement in the Israel-Palestine issue. Is that not embarrassing? Is that not insane? On Tuesday, a day before his CNN interview, Biden put out a new campaign ad reminding voters that his opponent, Donald Trump, quote, ripped innocent children away from their mothers at the border. And he did. And Trump will do it again. But Joe Biden, I'm sorry to say, has backed a war, a genocide that has killed more than 14,000 children, left thousands more as orphans or with limbs amputated or starving. How can he be okay with that? What happened to being the comforter in chief, the empath, the person who lost his wife and baby daughter early on in life and has ever since felt the pain of others who have suffered loss? My message today to Joe Biden is, don't go with half measures, with a single pause of a single arms shipment. Pick up the phone, Mr. President. End all of this right now, just as Ronald Reagan picked up the phone in 1982 and called then Israeli Prime Minister Menachem Begin and compared what Israel was doing in Lebanon to the Holocaust. Yes, to the Holocaust. That's what Reagan said. And he insisted they end their bombing of Beirut. And 20 minutes later, they did. It was over. You have that power too, Mr. President. You can end this. You can save the people of Rafah from extermination. You can call for their freedom from occupation and bombardment, just as you've loudly called for the freedom of the Ukrainian people. And look, even if you don't care about the people in Rafah, the Palestinians in Gaza, even if you don't see them as fully human or deserving of your empathy or compassion, don't you care about your own re-election prospects? Your own chance of a second term? Because basic morality and international law aside, there is a very practical domestic political argument for breaking with Netanyahu and ending this conflict as soon as possible. It's an election year. And ending this war in Gaza, getting a ceasefire, getting aid into Gaza, getting some kind of roadmap for Palestinian freedom on the table wouldn't just help maybe get you back some of the voters who've deserted you over this specific issue, but it would also allow you to get back to focusing on what you clearly want to focus on, need to focus on, the economy and record low unemployment, record falls in crime on your watch nationwide over the past year, and of course the threat of a second Donald Trump presidency. You, Joe Biden, can end this disastrous Gaza war and do all of that, or you can spend the rest of this year trying to conjure up a response to pro-Palestine protesters at your public events as they heckle Genocide Joe at you. You can call out Benjamin Netanyahu, who everyone hates, or you can call out college students who you really need to have knocking on doors for you come November. Which one will it be, Mr. President? Because time is not on your side. Benjamin Netanyahu is at the door of Rafah, and Donald Trump is at the door of the White House. So what's it going to be? Save Bibi or save yourself? Save American democracy and Palestinian lives or save Israel's war machine? As you once said, Mr. President, about Ukraine, and as I'm now saying to you, about Rafah, history is watching.